Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Authentic Podcast with Justin Douillard. And thank you for tuning in to another episode. And now, this is the moment you've all been waiting for. Another genuine conversation with a unique individual. It's time!
Happy Halloween. Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Authentic Podcast. Got Mr. Robert Patton, a.k.a. Bobby.
That's right.
With us this morning, and we are actually in his studio, which is super cool. Beautiful drive out here in Woodland Park, so thank you for having me. I'm sure it feels weird having me host you in your own studio, but it's nice, man. And thanks for letting me come out here and get on. So
I appreciate the interest in me as a person rather than just the brand per se, so I like to talk and share my experiences. So I thank you for your interest in coming all the way out here.
Yeah, man, super pumped. So we were going to bring my laptop and my mics, but Bobby's got some pretty good high quality microphones, and I wanted to try them out. I may be buying some myself. So once again, thank you. And see, Halloween morning tonight. Are you excited for tonight?
I'm actually going to be watching the UFC fights.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Bryce Mitchell and Andre Feely. So
yeah,
I know Bryce is one of your guys, right?
He is. Yeah, we signed a year-long contract with him. Got him early. He's 13-0. We're trying to get a champion, on the
team.
roster. Yeah, we had Tony Ferguson. He was interim champion. Then he lost to Gagey, and that was unfortunate. And
he'll be back though.
And Cowboy was on a tear. But, he just wins and loses and gets back up and fights again. He's actually fighting again in December against Rafael Dos Anjos in a grappling tournament. So it was cool the other day. Cowboy messaged me. He's like, call me. And I was like, oh, shit. So he wanted us to design him a uniform because it's going to be kind of like the old school, not the Reebok, because it's a different organization.
Okay.
And so it'll have Budweiser, Monster, Sheath, Easy Go, Henry Rifles, a lot of his sponsors.
Okay.
But we're going to be the most prominent. Sheath will be the most prominent sponsor on his uniform. And that's pretty cool. Another cool thing that's happening with him is he hasn't fully agreed, but we're talking to his management about just having him come on our podcast, the RPG podcast. Shout out.
Yes, sir.
Shameless plug.
No, please do.
Yeah, it's like a community. This is like a new form of social media that's not fully tapped into. There's thousands of podcasts, but there's millions of accounts on Instagram, or billions or whatever. So we're still early, I think, ish. Not early, but we're not too late to get in the game, I think.
Yeah. And I mean, it's for me anyways, it's a super fun hobby.
Exactly.
If I make $0 or if I make $1,000 off of it, I'll never care because this is fun to me. Coming out here on a Saturday morning, bullshitting with you, learning about your story. So that's what it is for me. If it grows, it grows. If not, then it's still fun to me.
100%.
I always say I never care if I have 50 listeners or 50,000. I mean, that'd be cool.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, so what's it like getting a message from Cowboy Cerrone saying, hey, call me?
You get this little sense of you're special a little bit,
I would agree.
That's what I love about Sheath is it affords me opportunities to rub elbows with these high profile, influencers or athletes. And we haven't quite broken into the movie industry or anything, but the people I'm interested in, they respond, and it's not even all about the money when it comes to Sheath, because Sheath is now doing pretty well. And people ask me, how much would you sell for instance? And I'm like, I don't want to sell it. You better, it's come with so much money that I would be a fool not to take it. And I'm talking more than 50 million type money, because what I would lose is Cowboy wouldn't be messaging me. You know, he wouldn't need me. He'd go to whoever the new owner is or whatever. And my friends, you know, respect me. They don't necessarily look up to me, but there is a desire for men to gain the respect of their peers along the way. And there's I get that. I feel like I have, my team that works with me. We get to create new designs, new videos. Like I'm kind of going off on a tangent, but
no, go ahead.
Thank you. You know, I love Geico commercials. They're so funny. I love comedy. And so we get to make commercials that might be funny. We just released one recently that is, it's like a skit of a Vice documentary of like an underground drug running scheme.
Oh, yeah. I saw that one on Instagram.
Yeah. And I thought it was hilarious. And we were literally actually moving product from San Antonio to here in Colorado Springs. We were shutting down one of our distribution centers because we had 4. Now we have 3. We're just trying to consolidate because we had too many, and managing inventory at multiple locations just becomes a grind, and etc. So since we were moving the inventory anyways, my brother, who is he makes all the videos. If you see any videos anywhere on the internet about Sheath, he made it. And he was like, let's do this video. And so it's supposed to be just fun. It's funny. And so far we've gotten like 99% positive reviews, but some people, I think it's going to get political. I love politics. It's fascinating to me. But anyways, one of my right wing, he's still in the Army, and I'm super on board with like 90% of what he talks about. But, I'm like free speech and First Amendment, all the things. Constitution, love it. Greatest nation in the world ish, but I'm down for,
You're a patriot.
But he goes, it's reminded me of Antifa. And I was like, damn it. And because I could see where he was coming from, because we're wearing all black and like black masks. But that is not what we were going for at all. It was just a joke. If you watch it to the end.
Well, surely he also was being funny too.
I don't know.
Really?
Yeah, he was being a little bit
like, dude, at the nitty gritty, I sell underwear. It's a funny commercial.
Exactly.
Like, come on. Yeah,
that's what I was kind of just shout out to Johnny. I was like, dude, it's a joke. And then the next thing he mentioned was he works under 10th Mountain Special Forces operations something, and he was like he's gonna try to get us in with their unit, I would just give them a few hundred pairs of Sheath just to be having Special Forces guys wearing our shit. Yeah, so
that'd be a great marketing pitch and a good partnership to build. So
yeah,
are you in retail stores? I meant to ask you that.
No, we did just sign a deal with a company called Mr. Checkout. They are like an intermediary between suppliers like myself and retail stores that they were on Shark Tank. They have an office in New York, like Fifth Avenue, something. So it's legit.
What are they called again?
Mr. Checkout.
Mr. Checkout. Okay.
Yeah. So anybody trying to do that, it's been 10 years we've been around as a brand. 7 years, like officially moving with full steam, because we had a hiccup on our first run of product. I rushed production. I tell the story sometimes, but I was so excited to get the product out. It was not ready, and it actually set us back 3 years. So
can you go into more details on that, or is it too complex?
No. I mean, 2010, I'm still in the Army. My younger brother, who's still my business partner, was really eager to turn it into a brand. The idea that I had when I was in Iraq, the idea for the pouch, the underwear that I was telling people about, he wanted to turn it into a company. And, I'm like, in the Army, I'm like, dude, I got time left on my contract. It's not a priority.
The government owns me for a little bit longer.
Yeah. So, but I describe it as like a cattle prodded me over and over and over until I said, fine. I flew him out. We start going over potential names. Southern Comfort was going to be one of them. The drink.
Hey.
I like a nice shot of Southern Comfort maybe, but
Some SoCo.
yeah, exactly. And junk drawers, put your junk in the drawers. So, a lot of Southern references. I'm kind of from the South.
Where are you from?
I was born in San Antonio,
Okay.
but I also lived in Georgia, middle Georgia. But then I also lived in California, all Southern though, like Southern California, middle Georgia, Texas, etc. And so those ideas came about. We never came up with the name during that trip, but a few months later or weeks later, he called me and didn't say anything. I answered the phone and he said SHEATH. And I was like, that's it. I was in bed and I like sat up and threw my hands in the air. I was like, that's it. It was perfect. So we had the name, and I had put out some feelers online for production companies, and Alibaba is the current kind of source to go to if you need to have something manufactured.
Yep.
Yeah. So for anyone out there listening, if you need to manufacture something, Alibaba is where to go now.
I have bought things on their app. So
yeah.
Mhm.
And it's a source for anything, including manufacturing stuff. But so I used a company like that. It was called mfg.com. And I put out a little video with a sample that I had made from a local seamstress that just humored me in my design to make ball pouch underwear. She was super sweet. Local here in Colorado, actually. But so don't lose your train of thought. You're doing really good. And so I put it out there, and I got a bunch of responses from a bunch of people, a lot in China, all over the world though. And this guy from Pakistan, he ended up calling me. He's like, Robert, he's like, I know this is your first time, as I'm going to hold your hand through the process. And so because he called me, spoke English, and told me he would work with me, I worked with him, and that was simple. So we found a manufacturer.
Is that scary, working with someone that you're probably never going to see, at least at the start?
At the start,
this guy's going to manufacture my business, and I'm just trusting him completely.
It was in a lot of ways because, during the production interim from the conversation I had to receiving the product, they had a monsoon in Pakistan, which knocked out all the power for 3 months. So I had no contact with them for 3 months, and I was like, okay, well, I think it was like $5,000 or something.
You thought you got robbed?
Yeah, a little bit. And being an Army veteran and dealing with someone in that area where you're fighting against people that might look the same, there was some hesitation, but I'm pretty open-minded, and he was an awesome dude, super cool, and ultimately he got me what he promised me. But the problem was, like I said in the beginning of this long-winded story, is that I rushed it. And what happened was, I sent him my prototype. He sent me back a prototype, to show me what they could do. And I was like, okay, that's good, but this is too high. And the back came halfway up my back. And so we corrected that. The pouch needed a little bit of adjustment. So I sent it back with some directions. He sent me another prototype. And at that point, I should have said, okay, better, but we still need to do, adjust this more. But I felt this guilty feeling, I don't want to ask too much. He's helping me. It was weird. I mean, maybe I'm like that, but I've learned along the way, you got to get it right. I don't care how many times you got to send it back, do it again. If we had just done one more iteration, that could have possibly changed everything as far as how everything rolled out. But I was like, run it. We got 1,000 pairs, and I was in denial about how they were not, properly fitting, and
you just wanted to get your business running and get it going. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yep. And that, that was it. And it turns out pouch was too high. So when you put them on, there might be some circulation cut off. And, I was just telling myself they were fine. But point is, ultimately I came to the conclusion that we could not sell those. And, but then I got out of the Army and I went and worked for a tailor, and to hone my craft and make a new sample. And
you went to work for a tailor solely knowing you were going to open this business later on?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I took those 1,000 pairs I probably had like 750 left because I gave away quite a few. And I actually sent 10% to Socks for Soldiers. We try to donate, but I'm sure the guys that received them are like, oh, thanks, but no thanks. But anyways, the point, I was like, can I work for you for free in exchange for using your sewing machines? You show me how to use it. I want to correct these 1,000 pairs. So I like adjusted the pouches on all those pairs in exchange for working his counter.
That's genius.
Yeah. Well,
that's really smart.
It was that was like the incubation period.
I would think the opposite. Which I think you thought better. I would be like, hey, I got to get a decent job and make some bread while I'm getting this thing going so I can live. But you're like, I'm going to invest in my product and my art while trying to build that. So that probably sped up the process. So
yeah, and it kind of gave me some credibility. I wasn't just some art soldier. I did go and get like a year of training under an elite tailor who could make anything. Like he was an expert, and he's from Vietnam, barely spoke English, but a master at his craft. And
so you kind of went at ground level. You're like, hey, I'm not a tailor, but I did work for one, so I know, the ins and outs. So
yeah, he taught me. I was like hemming pants and stuff at one point during that. I was taking, when you go to a tailor, you usually get your pants hemmed and stuff. I
feel like that's a trade, or not a trade, I guess, a talent that is kind of an older generational thing, and a lot of people now don't know how to do it. Like when I got some pants hemmed like a couple years ago, and I was in a small town, Grand Forks, North Dakota, but couldn't find anybody. The only person doing it was this older woman out of her house like this, and she was 65, so she was really busy, and it was kind of a hobby / side gig for her. So like she just didn't really have any priority to do it. So I think it's a lost trade.
It should be more utilized because they make you look better. Your clothes are more fitted, and a lot of people that were very into style at the time would come through and get their whatever they bought, they had to get it perfectly fitted to their body, which like you said, it's a lost art, but people that care still go and get their stuff fitted, and I feel like I should do that. I need some more suits. I would
like to learn how to do it.
Yeah.
So save myself money and then be like, hey, I can do this, because I could probably name one friend of all the people I know that knows how to do it. Everyone else it's either your grandma or your grandpa or an aunt or an uncle. So
yeah, my wife comes to me. She's like, can you sew this together or whatever? I'm like, okay, I got you, because I do know how to sew. But they do have some special equipment that you might not know about, like a serger. It's like, so it's not as simple as just doing it by hand, and a lot of times, but you can do anything you put your mind to.
Sure.
And I'm sure there's equipment now you could buy at like Walmart or whatever. But that was so then, and I like relaunched 3 years later after having that experience with him, and that's when it really came alive. Like if you look at Twitter, our born on date, I call it, it's 2010, like June or something, but we really didn't start going anywhere until like June of 2013. So
2013 is when you started really up and running a full-blown company, and you had your right product. And okay, so it's 2020 now. I discovered your product about 2 months ago, maybe, give or take.
Right.
And then, so that's how I was going to bridge this conversation, is, your partnership with all these UFC fighters, which is cool because I'm a huge UFC fan.
Me too.
So I see, and I'm not a sponsor yet, but I think a tag on Cerrone's page, Cowboys. It's like Sheath underwear. And, I spend hours on Instagram a day, like I shouldn't. But so I clicked on it, I was like, Sheath, okay. Because, I have a lot of Saks underwear, which are fairly similar.
Right.
But so then I click on it, and then I click on your profile, and it was like, Colorado Springs. I was like, no shit. I just came here 2 months ago. So I was like, that's kind of crazy that it's here.
Yeah.
And I kind of dig more, and I see you got your podcast and whatnot. So long story short, I was like, one, I want to try him, and two, I was like, I want to hit him up. It's like, I want to get him on the show.
I love it.
You're right here, and you seem pretty local in the community and out and about. But so long-winded as my conversation, you started 2013. When did you start blowing up and getting big? Because you've got multiple UFC fighters on your team, as you say. When did that start happening?
Probably like 20. I actually, 2017, we signed Tisha Torres, who is a local UFC fighter here. Anyone that pays attention probably knows she was on The Ultimate Fighter, and by getting her, she knows all these other UFC fighters. Now, backtrack a little bit. We were already sponsoring MMA fighters. We were already sponsoring Kyle Nelson, who's now in the UFC, but at the time, from 2014 till like 19, he was in Elite One MMA in Canada, champion. But now he's in the UFC. He did just lose his third fight, so I don't know how long he's going to be in. Shout out to Kyle. He won one, and he was winning most of the fights started off with him winning, but there's the adrenaline dump or whatever's happening with him. He ended up losing.
Where's he at?
He's in Huntsville, Ontario, Canada.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then Peter Barrett, also not in the UFC when we signed him, now is in the UFC. He just won on the Contender Series, got in, and then he did lose his first fight, but he was fighting, I forget who, kind of a killer though, and he held his own, and he's fighting again soon. I forget who. I forget. It's a decent matchup. I'd hate to do that. I don't want to do that. I'm not going to look it up. But anyways, Peter Barrett.
Yeah, go ahead.
He's in. David Acosta. We had a lot of undercard, non
like the prelims and such.
Well, yeah, they've always fought on the prelims when they fought, but we had a lot of fighters that were not in the UFC.
Okay.
Michael Mallet fought in Bellator, and they were part of the Alpha. What's that Alpha team in Sacramento?
Team Alpha Male.
Team Alpha Male.
Okay.
Yeah, we had quite a few of those guys, and.
Do you watch the Legacy fights? You got any of those guys?
We do. Yes, we do have Legacy guys.
We watched some of those last night. One of my buddies from college was fighting on there, so.
Peter Barrett.
Because a lot of these UFC guys started in Legacy, so.
Oh, he's finding that Hopper kid, that young kid that looks like
Ben Askren's son.
Yeah.
When is that?
I know. That's 256, so December 12th.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's in Vegas, or?
I think so. I don't know.
Ben Askren's son. That's funny.
Yeah, that was a cute little skit they were doing, and he's good.
He is good.
I bet on his last fight. I bet on Hopper, but he lost against.
My brother bet on that. He parlayed, I think 3 or 4, and that was his only loss.
Yeah, because he was on a run, and he's kind of estimated because he's a skinny white kid.
Yeah, and he's like 20 years old, so can't even drink a beer after the fight.
Yeah, but he's exciting. Just kind of like Sean O'Malley. A little bit, kind of same frame, same like.
Are you an O'Malley fan?
I am, but I've never bet on him, and I think I bet on him on his last fight because Cheeto Vera. I was like, he's got to win one, and I don't remember if I bet on him or not. I like him. I've reached out to him, because he smokes weed and. Not that I necessarily promote weed smoking, but I do live in Colorado, and
hey, absolutely, man.
I smoke from time to time, and it could be a fit, but I almost think he's a little bit too big for us, maybe but I'm not sure. And he never responded. So typically, we work with Michael Bisping, we work with the Schmo, that
I did see that
reporter guy, which I thought was pretty cool. He's as a reporter. For sports, he made a character for himself, and he's running with it.
Yeah. Have you met him?
I've talked to him on the phone.
Okay.
Yeah.
My brother did meet him. What card was Colton at? It was last December. I want to say it was like Holloway versus. Oh my god.
It has to be the champion Volkanovski.
Yes.
Yeah. Because he's fought him the last
Nunez.
2 times.
Colton, my brother was at that card in Vegas.
Oh, I was too.
He went live.
I was there.
Nice.
Yeah, that must have been Cerrone versus Connor.
No. I can't. I'd have to. Look
Then
it
it was
up,
Colby versus.
Yes.
Usman.
Yes, Colby Usman.
Yeah.
Colton was there, and I don't know if he knew he was going to be there or not, but the Schmo and O'Malley were at a bar there before, and it was funny because Colton was like, I didn't know if he was going to talk like normal or in his voice. So, but anyways,
how did he talk?
It was normal.
Yeah, because I prefer the normal. I like the Schmo, and I like his normal. I like normal is just more normal, but you got to do the Schmo thing because that's how he made like a.
That's how he got his in. Yeah, I remember Colton first because me and my brother, we talk often, but a lot of our talk is sending stupid shit on Instagram to each other.
Mm-hmm.
And when the schmo came around, he was like, "What is it?" You know, Dana White was like, "Who the hell is this guy?"
Right.
And now he's, you know, one of the few reporters at Fight Island.
Absolutely.
And, you know, he found a unique way to get his in because everyone's trying to be a reporter and everyone's trying to stand out in the UFC. And so he, like I said, made this character. And I'm with you. I like his regular personality, like his podcast more than his character, but it's still pretty cool.
Yeah, and you know, he initially was asking provocative questions, which is what I really liked about him. You know, it was something. He's like, okay, somebody's asking, you know, something clever and not just a mundane question. I don't remember what it was.
Yeah.
And maybe it was the glasses and the voice also, and just the way he kind of presented himself, very confident and loud and you know, commanding attention, kind of like a Conor McGregor or maybe a Sugar Shane O'Malley. Funny enough, we do sponsor his podcast, and one of the ones we sponsor one a month, so it's like random who you're going to get as a guest, but Sean O'Malley was on there, and there was Sheath on the table, and he was like, "What is this, Sheath?" It was a super quick little, you'd have to like re-listen to it to hear him even say it, and they did not elaborate because conversations on podcasts can go sideways, and somebody said something and it just went to a different subject. But O'Malley knows that we exist, and I'd love to work with these big names, all the big names. I'm just about getting product in people's hands and creating awareness and working with people that command attention. You know, I like the fighters that create the characters. You know,
we all do. I mean,
yeah.
that's why we tune in, and it's exciting to watch. So that's my brother and I discussed about. So we're both big sports fans, like football, basketball, and then, you know, of course, UFC. We started following MMA about, I don't know, I'd say 4 to 5 years ago. But the thing which we've already hit on, or you can tell naturally, is with a lot of these MMA fighters, they're not like other professional athletes. Like, it's pretty rare that you could talk to, you know, an NBA player, an NFL player, but it's almost like they're professionals, but they're also normal people. You know, like with guys in the NFL, like they go out and about and they're swarmed, and you know, they're not going to pop in your house on a weekday and have a podcast with you. But MMA fighters, you know, they're training with average Joes at the gym all the time, and they're just more normal people. It seems like they have that connection, and they're just not, you know, lost in that professional world like most other sports are.
Yeah, like
that's what makes it fun.
Getting a big head, like too big of a head. They get humbled pretty regularly, probably in the gym or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
And that keeps them level-headed and more down to earth. Everyone I've reached out to or spoken with or worked with is usually, you know, super chill. Like this guy David Acosta, he never made it. He went to Dana White's looking for a fight. He made it on there and he lost. But he worked it with the Team Alpha Male and stuff, but he's kind of moved on from that. But just that mentality of a fighter is usually pretty chill. They're not like these aggro, you know, roaring, beating their chests all the time. I talk to Bisping frequently through Instagram, and I
would love to talk to Bisping. He's so funny, man.
Yeah,
God.
I love his podcast. We got booted from the podcast because another underwear company came in offering double what we were paying. But we're back on, and they only stayed for like a month because they were paying too much. And I knew they were going to, I was like, you're not going to make your money back with that, because it's growing. But, you know, we were making our money back with what we were spending. And this other company, Mack Weldon, it's on. They're a good company. Actually, they have some pretty cool stuff, but they don't have they're not like Saks or 2 Under, some of our competitors with the pouch. That's what makes us different.
The pouch is amazing.
Yeah,
it really is. I'm wearing them now. So
and Cowboy, you know, circle way back. Tisha Torres, she's doing a post for us because you asked how we got in with these MMA fighters, like the legit like UFC fighters.
Yeah, I want to say real quick too, talking about the athletes and how they're kind of like everyday people at not. And like if it's an NBA player, an NFL player, if they showed up to your workout facility or your gym, it would be like a media day. Like there's no way they could do it. It'd be an autographs and they'd close the gym down. But like I said, I've been at Warrior for like a month. You know, I do like beginners kickboxing. I'm an amateur, but yeah, Tisha Torres was there the other day.
Hell yeah.
I saw it, like I was on our Warrior MMA page, and I was like, that's crazy. Just on a Wednesday at noon, you know, professional MMA fighter pulling up to train with one of the guys or the girls. So
I would like to roll with her or Raquel. That was supposed to be part of the contract with Raquel, but now she's saying she's hurt. You know, I want to see her, like, see what she's got. You know, I train too. And I would like to see how I match up against a professional girl or female. And I'm sure she would dominate me, but
you probably never thought you'd be proud of hanging with a girl if you fight or roll with her. So
yeah. And you know, these other like YouTubers, sometimes like let someone punch them out or whatever. I think what's that guy, Logan Paul, got punched out by
Paulo Costa, right?
Yeah, and I don't know if that was real or not.
I don't know either. We watched it several times, and I've watched reviews on it. People said it's hard to tell, but
and we were so close to working with Logan Paul this week. It was
seriously?
Yes, and we were. I have a contract written up by my lawyer this week, and then they pulled out of the deal because
Logan Paul did.
Yeah, something about they're doing their own clothing line, and so. And it's fine. And I don't even know if it was really real. It was presented to me by someone who's no longer working with us now. Because the dude keeps coming up with these really big deals. And then for whatever reason, they fall through. And I'm like, you just keep getting my hopes up. Anyways. But so that would have been really cool. He has such a huge following. And we were getting, it was almost too good to be true. It was one of those too good to be true things, I think, ultimately. But if it ever happens, we'd be down, because I was like, I never even listened to him, but he's super popular, so he's got to be doing something right. And
I think he's one of the like original, you know, YouTube fathers per se. One of the people who made a living off YouTube.
Yeah.
And now he's like a boxer, and I mean, he can do anything he wants now.
He's doing good though. And I listened to one podcast. I was like, he seems cool.
Yeah,
he seemed cool. But so, you know, we're always looking for opportunities, and you know, we took what we could with Tisha, who was not like the biggest star, but she's local and, you know, highly ranked and all those things. So we're working with her, do a post, and then Cowboy Cerrone comments on her post. He's like, have them send me some underwear and tell them whatever they're going to send to double it. And that's some cowboy shit. And I was like, fuck yeah. So
you're like, on it.
Yeah, totally.
Overnight it tomorrow.
Absolutely. Like 30 pairs, this huge bag of underwear. Way more than he would need. And then, you know, time goes on. We're just doing our thing. And one morning, I'm like laying in my office on the ground, scrolling through Instagram.
Oh, yeah.
And he's doing like a Henry Rifle commercial. And so I decided to message him. And I was like, hey, you know, we sent some underwear. Just wondering if you liked them. And he's like 5 minutes later or less, sends back a screenshot. He's like, I'm wearing them badass bitches right now. And it made my day, obviously, for him to say that
it's like a month maker.
Yeah, that he liked them and was wearing them, because that's key. You know, like sometimes you pay these people to promote your product, but when they like them, that's a whole other level of just when they promote it, it's more authentic. Yeah. And you know, we've had some bad experiences where I will not promote with people until they've tried the product now, because Bob Menery, I'll tell the story. He's a famous influencer. Bob Menery. Check it. He's actually really funny. He has this ESPN sportsman announcer voice and he'll like dub his voice over video content from sporting events like, you know, golf or NFL or college football, but he does it in a way where it's like totally ridiculous. He's like cursing and saying, you know, outrageous things that no real sports announcer would say.
Okay.
And it's funny.
A YouTuber or Instagram or?
Instagram. He's got like 2.9 million on Instagram. And so when we had the opportunity to work with him, I'd watched some of his videos, I was like, this guy's hilarious. Hell yeah. But his agent kind of rushed the deal. It's like, he'll like it. I promise he'll like it. Don't worry about it. Just like, let's do it. And they kind of rushed me. And so we went against our normal way of doing things, which is we always, let me send you a care package. Try it. If you like it, let me know. Then
Okay.
we'll talk. And it did not go that way. We got, pressure. It was like a pressure sales kind of a deal. And the reality also was that he was starting a new podcast. Even though he has 2.9 million on Instagram, we were sponsoring his podcast. And the price they gave us was outrageous, but we did it anyways because he said these things. And we're like, okay, whatever, let's do it. And we spent 10 grand and made back like less than $1,000. And typically we like to make our money back, at least.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So that was a big loser. And,
Why do you think his was a loss? What stood out with him? Did he didn't promote it well? He didn't actually like the product?
he hadn't tried it. And so that's what I was kind of saying with like Cowboy is like, he tried it first, liked it. Then we started sponsoring him with Bob and a couple others, but very rarely do we do that. He hadn't, if you haven't tried it, it's hard to describe it in a way. And he was just describing it in a way that we don't describe it. He was like,
wasn't very genuine.
no. And he even said during the read, I'm not wearing them. Like, what are you doing?
This is going south quick.
Yeah. I was like, bro, $5,000 for a minute read. Like, act like you like it, cause then we had another one that we had already paid for. So we had to go through that. And,
he said on the ad, I'm not wearing them.
yeah. It's like, why say that? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah. You should, I'm sure you couldn't have, but you should have got your money back on that one.
The only positive outcome was we clipped what he said. He did 2 reads. We clipped some of the stuff that he said to make it sound real good. We put it on our Instagram page, took video of him looking, cool and stuff, and then posted it on our Instagram. He then commented on our Instagram and said something like he liked it and whatnot. So that was cool. And we like when the people we post videos about come on, like and comment, having those blue check marks on your page.
Yeah, of course.
It gets a little warm.
The first ones that pop up. And
yeah. And Bisping is one of the heaviest kind of commenters on our page that is, like a big name. But I guess back to Cowboy. He liked him, and he sent me to his management, and we did a deal. We did a 2-year deal. It's coming up. I guess at the end of this year is the end of the contract. So I'm going to try to get him on a podcast, and we're going to do one more real cool video photo shoot of him riding a horse, riding his motorcycles,
shooting guns.
Yeah, doing all the stuff.
Drinking Budweiser.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
He went to high school here, did he not?
He grew up here. I don't know. I know his dad is still the chief at some fire department here.
Oh, okay.
And so yeah, he's from Colorado Springs, but he obviously lives in New Mexico. And
at the BMF ranch.
Yeah, and I got to go there.
I saw that.
Yeah.
How was that?
It was the coolest thing ever. But typical kind of superstar status. We get there, and he doesn't show up for like 3 hours.
Oh, really?
He was out roping cattle on his horse all day, and so he was
working, but not just ditching you guys for
no
lunch or something.
Yeah, no, he was
like a
doing,
real celebrity.
Well, he's doing his thing. He's always doing jet skis or whatever,
4-wheeling and
yeah,
dirt biking.
So, but we did get met by his photographer named Rodrigo Snaps. Excellent photographer. He does photography for some energy drink. It's not Monster. It's not Red Bull, but it's one of those like fuel, something some kind of energy drink. And so he's like top of the line photographer. So he meets us there and kind of gives us the tour of the ranch, which was pretty fun. He had like a paintball.
It's like a 15-year-old's paradise out
Yeah,
there.
yeah. He has all these animals and buffalo and cows and chickens and pigs and stuff. So then he has a team of fighters that live and train there with him.
Full time?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
He has like a side house for them, and then he lives there with his wife. And I remember super cold when he finally showed up, and the first thing he wanted to do was see Danger. He's like, get Danger and his son to come out, and they're out there like just like hugging and stuff. And then they come inside, and he had been working all day, if you will. I think he was practicing or whatever, roping cattle, but he was like out of it. He was just like, what are we doing? give me a beer, So he starts drinking Budweiser and hanging out. And, we took Robert Oberst, we'll just call him the strongest man in the world, because he really wanted to meet Cowboy. And that's how it kind of cascades.
I think I've seen that. I think I saw that on your YouTube or Instagram as well.
Yeah.
That huge bastard.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. He was on Rogan. He's also on the History Channel, and he goes and does these feats of strength. But, we got Cowboy through Tisha and Robert Oberst through Cowboy. But part of the Robert Oberst deal was he wanted to meet Cowboy. So I was like, okay, we'll fly you in. We did a photo shoot here.
Mm-hmm.
Then we drove down to New Mexico, 5 hours, hung out with Cowboy. They kind of did some photos together. I know that there was one photo where Robert picked up Cowboy like with one arm in the air, but it was like a kind of a Cowboy was doing like an armbar move. And so that was kind of fun. And, I got to talk to Cowboy briefly, and I was just, do you really like them? And I hate to be like that, but he's like, fuck yeah, I like them. What are you talking about? It's like,
I mean, that's a legit question.
Yeah, I don't know. And he told me the story about why he liked them or whatever. And there was another brand out of Canada called My Package. It's, My Package. It's about your boys, your package. And it had a pouch as well. And he told me the story of when he saw like an underwear with a pouch in it. That's awesome. He cleared the shelf of the product that he was at the store of, just bought all of them. Yeah. And then I think they were going to maybe work with him or not work with him. And then Ethica, some other underwear brand, was trying to work with him. But when he saw us and tried ours, he just decided to work with us. And so I know I've seen him wearing the My Package underwear while he's been working with us, which kind of is a little stinger.
Traitor.
But I've also seen him wearing ours where we're not paying him to wear them, and like he was training for a fight, warming up for a fight in Vegas. And I saw our waistband. I was like, yes. And in some of his training videos, I'm like, oh, he's wearing them right there because, his shorts will come up. And,
yep.
But I see him wearing other ones. I just have to take it for what it is. He has an underwear full of a drawer full of underwear,
sure.
And he's picking.
Oh, well, I can't imagine how often they get hit up for stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and then too how much free product they get. Like,
Mm-hmm.
Your stuff is great, by the way, love it. But
thank you.
I'm sure you sent him 30 free pair of underwear. How many other people have done that too? And it's
Mm-hmm.
Cowboy. He's probably like, oh, I'm gonna get up and just throw something on, and
Right.
He's the busy lifestyle. And I always think too, I wonder, like if you look at Rogan stuff,
Mm-hmm.
how much, not only is he making crazy money, how much free stuff is he getting from people that he may like, may not like?
Mm-hmm.
Like he's a Traeger guy. Like I'm sure
Yeah.
they send him a new grill every 6 months for no reason.
Yeah,
and
absolutely. Just to talk about it.
yeah, he's a big MeUndies guy. So
Mm-hmm.
have you ever tried to reach out and see what he's about or his costs?
Of course, 100%.
What's that like?
2000.
How hard is it to get into that?
I mean, I've had essentially a conversation with him, and it was bad. And he claimed
You had one with him.
You'll see. I'll tell the story.
All right.
There's like December 30th, 2012. He's in Austin doing a comedy show.
Okay.
He's a stand-up comedian. I bought tickets. Me and my friend, we show up. And the whole time I have this plan that I'm going to, at the end of his show, I'm going to throw underwear on stage. And
I love this story already.
It went south. But there's some silver lining. There's a couple silver linings. But and this was 2012. Now I mentioned we didn't really get started till 2013. So I was throwing those old underwear up on the stage for one.
At the end of the show?
Yes, not old used, but the ones that the
old prototype.
the first kind of launch, and they had been modified, but there's just like a reason for everything. Kind of, I have to work things out of my brain, and there's a reason why we don't work with him. We weren't ready for sure, but I throw him up there. He's done with his set for sure. He's done with his set. He's doing crowd work. It's been an hour. And it's like an hour and 20 minutes in, he's just talking to the crowd. So I'm like, this is my time. And I throw a pair. And we're in Austin. And in Austin, they have these Keep Austin Weird shirts.
Yep.
So he's like, what is this, an Austin is Weird shirt? I have the audio of everything, but I've never released it. but I might release it one day. But anyways, keep the story.
I want to see it if I can.
Okay.
Even if you don't release it, that'd be cool.
Yeah, it's
Got insider access here.
it is very, it's his voice, and it's very clear. He has a distinct voice. And what is this? Austin is Weird shirt, Sheath. And on the packaging, it had described what it was, and it had like a drawing of the pouch underwear, and he was like, a pouch for your underwear. He got it right away. It's like, what would you need a pouch for your underwear for? Are you sticking drugs in there? This has got to be the stupidest idea I've ever heard of.
Oh.
Or $1 billion idea. Boom. I said, thank you. And I threw like a couple more pairs. But he goes like, it's a horrible marketing strategy. Go through the proper channels and et cetera, as but I have my Joe Rogan coffee cup here. He's still like, I'm a huge fan, although Spotify deal, I feel like he's been compromised by Chinese or something. Like, I feel like he's censored now. He's like catching himself and apologizing.
He's doing things he has not done before.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
So but we still that network of people. We work with Ari Shafir. We work with like a lot of the guys that have been on his show. We will like pull them on our team.
Mm-hmm.
We got a little flack for the Ari Shafir collaboration.
Is he the comedian?
Yeah, he's a comedian, and he said he was like making fun of when Kobe died, I guess, which people were like trying to cancel him, of course, but he's still doing his thing. And many, like Michael Malice has been on Rogan many times. We work with him. Dave Smith from Part of the Problem, we work with him. Louis J. Gomez. These might not necessarily be big names that you've heard of, but a lot of people that have either been on his show or are in his like small circle of friends. Tony Hinchcliffe from Kill Tony.
I've seen Tony live.
And we work with Kill Tony, Brian Redband, we're trying to, Joey Diaz, we worked with him. That was a bit of a bust, but sometimes you win, sometimes you lose.
He's unique. Yeah.
And, he had come up recently on some Me Too shit or whatever, but he didn't get canceled. We worked with him, but it was, that one, I think he likes the product, and it was really cool because he wore our shirt on one of his podcasts without us paying him. Just, they were like, do you see Joey Diaz wearing your shirt? So that was cool. Cowboy's obviously been on Rogan many times, so he's kind of like Johnny Carson, and whoever goes on Johnny Carson becomes a star.
Yep.
And we're like, contact those people, especially if we like them and they don't already have an underwear deal with MeUndies.
Do you ever? Yeah. So I'll say this. I've had MeUndies. I had some 3 or 4 years ago. I think my dad got them for Christmas when he saw them on Rogan, and I like them.
Yeah.
They're okay. But I do like the pouch so much better.
Thank you.
It's amazing because I told you, I bought these a couple days ago, wearing them right now, love them. Other than that, I have sacks, which are, they have another form of different pouch. I know
exactly what they are. They're the slits.
Yeah.
Along the
so
side.
I will say, I am going to be a pouch guy for the rest of my life. With Rogan, with the MeUndies, I don't know if it's just loyalty or if, probably crazy money, but
it's like $50,000 an episode. No shit. I'm not joking. Yeah.
$50,000 an episode for MeUndies.
Because and I've done a $20,000 deal with a YouTuber, and he's nowhere near Rogan's level, and so
I can see where it'd be easy to promote something, even if it's not your favorite. But like I said, the MeUndies, they're comfortable, but the pouch is where it's at for me. For 100%.
And that's where I think all kind of underwear are going. Thankfully, we have some patent protection.
Yeah, how was that?
That was
is
the
that
first.
A nightmare?
It is what it is. No, it's not too bad.
It's not bad?
No. It's just going through the hoops of the patent evaluation and stuff. I'm still working with a lawyer as we speak on it, and it's still pending. And
is that annoying that you have to have a lawyer to do all this crap? Like
we started.
You have to have a lawyer.
Yeah, I started everything on my own, but when you get to a point where you can kind of afford a lawyer, it's actually way better to not have to do it yourself.
Yep.
And I feel like sometimes I have 20 plates spinning on sticks, and I'm trying to keep them all spinning at the same time. So being able to hand one of those sticks over to someone else to keep it spinning for me, and check in every now and then.
Well, you're the founder and the CEO, and you're doing packages on this table.
Yeah,
that we're doing a podcast on.
So. I'm still relatively grounded. I still keep doing. I don't do anything I wouldn't ask I don't ask anyone to do anything I wouldn't do or haven't already done myself. And that's why, like, my team who's been with me since like the day one. And
how many people do you got?
8. We just let one guy go today. Sorry, Morty.
Oh, bad Saturday.
Well, like, there's an attitude that I prefer when I'm working with someone, and it's very optimistic and positive, harmonious, and maybe people are like, you need to be realistic. I don't like realistic. I like shoot for the stars, hit the moon, but never once would I say you can't do that. And this is dude's like, you can't get Elon Musk. I don't like that attitude, like, you can't. All I want is, I want to get a golfer. They're too expensive. Bro, what the have I not expressed to you the psychology of success? And there's a book, shout out to Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. It's like my Bible, and I know it. I love the Bible too, but this is a philosophy on success, written in 1908. Have you heard of it?
I have heard of it. I have not read it, but
I highly recommend it to anyone to at least read it once, or listen to the audiobook, or listen to some of his talks. He's dead now. It's an old book written in 1908, but he interviewed 500 of the most successful people in the world at that time, including Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, to name a couple. And Andrew Carnegie is the guy that commissioned him to write this book. And the reason why is because he was like, wanted a philosophy on success. What makes these people different from average people? And it's a way of doing things, ultimately, that you don't have to be smart. You can be dumb. You can literally be dumb. They say Henry Ford was not that bright, honestly. He was just very mechanically inclined. But everything else, he had an expert at his side to rely on if he needed, expertise in any given field. And so delegating properly, but just this... and maybe Stephen Jobs wasn't the most harmonious dude. Stephen, I call him Stephen. But for me, at least, and like Tony Robbins-y types guys, it's power of positive thinking. Sure. And when you have someone that's going to be like, you can't do that, I don't jive with that.
I don't blame you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I'd like to read that book. I'll probably buy it. I like the Henry Ford quote. I can't quote it to a T, but when he said something along the lines of, if I would ask my customers what they wanted, they would have said better horses or more horses, or something like that.
Well,
faster horses, not a car.
One of the quotes I remember him saying was, whether you think you can or you can't, you're right.
You're right, yeah.
Yeah, and I believe that's Henry Ford. And
well, here's the deal. If you want a golfer, if you want Elon Musk, if you ask him, it might take you 1,000 times for a golfer, but you're eventually going to strike. Yeah. You're eventually going to hit it.
That's it.
If you're shooting 3-pointers all day and you're terrible, you shoot 100, you might make 3. Yeah. But, in this world, the 96 misses. It's not really a harm to you. Mm-mm. If you ask somebody, the worst they can do is say no or ignore you, which you've already told me that's happened all the time. Mm-hmm. And sometimes those people are ignoring you not on purpose. You're like, I hit up Sean O'Malley.
Right.
How many people are hitting up Sean O'Malley
exactly.
right now? Thousands.
Yeah.
One day he might open up and be like, oh shit, okay, I'll take some boxers.
Absolutely.
And then roll with it,
Mm-hmm.
And you're that right market too, because these guys are, fighters are hustling, and they're not like like we've said, the NFL guys and the NBA guys. They've got to kind of cut their teeth and get sponsors and grind it out. And a lot of them start out in the prelims and they're not making a whole lot of money, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, and
I think I've talked about that on like 7 of my 15 podcasts about how these guys are just underpaid.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
20 and 20, 20 to show, 20 if you win, I think is something like that, 20,000. So, and if you only fight once a year, then you have to pay all your trainers and
nutritionist,
travel.
a trainer, your travel. If you're getting massages on your body, God forbid you get hurt and you can't fight, but once a year. So
we've worked with one NBA player.
Really?
Danny Green, I think his name is.
Is that I do know that name. I don't know.
He was on. Is
it the Spurs?
The Spurs.
Okay.
He was on the Spurs.
I watched the NBA, but not like a lot.
And now I think he plays for like the Trailblazers or some Canadian team. But it, like you said, like they're not as approachable. And we did land him through an agent, but when he took the pictures. It was as if he was doing us this huge favor, and you could see in his face, he's like, like, we got to do another picture. Okay.
Yeah.
It was so bad. I was like, can you just give me my money back? And honestly, he did give us our money back.
Really?
Yeah.
You asked for it and they gave it back?
Yeah. I mean, we paid him $7,000. I think we got $6,000 back or something. And I was like, okay, fine. Because this is bullshit. Like, if you like act like you're something, don't act like, you know, your mom just told you to clean the kitchen or whatever.
Right. Pose for the picture, for your Christmas picture?
I don't know. It was weird. But we do have one picture of Danny Green wearing our underwear. And so that was kind of cool, I guess, you know. But
well, I'll make you a hell of a deal. I'll smile in all my pictures for 10% of the cost, and I'll be appreciative. not as big as Danny Green now. That sucks.
Yeah.
I'm glad you got your money back though.
Yeah.
To him, it was
cool.
probably a little check and some free underwear, you know, like you said.
Yeah, I think he was trying to help out his little agent dude who we worked with, and they're friends, and I think he was kind of doing a favor, like I said. And so that was a time where we did not follow the protocol of making sure they like it. I don't want to just pay people to promote our product.
Wear a shirt or a pair of boxers. Yeah. I think I lost my train of thought there. I think too that I like that you don't necessarily hold it against him. You're just like, didn't work out, kind of sucked. You got your money back, but because I think on both sides, I'm like, you're trying to hustle and grow this and get some notoriety and see, you know, get these boxers on people who have an influence. But then, like you said, you know, Danny Green, big NBA star, like you said, his agent could have just been like, hey man, put this shirt on, let's make some money or try this out. And there's probably thousands of those.
Right.
I just can't imagine being famous and getting thousands of messages. Hey, try my weights. Hey, try my water.
Right.
Hey, put on these boxers or everything.
Shoes, vitamins, anything.
How do you filter it?
Cars. Yeah. I mean, that's why you have an agent and they do that stuff for you. So you don't, and I'm becoming quite a celebrity myself. Just kidding. Now I'm kind of joking, but I do feel it on a super low level where I have people that I've worked with. Now they want jobs, and I don't want to turn them off because like they're huge supporters of the brand and we've had a great relationship, but I don't like, what can you do? Like, what we're paying you to do what you do. You do influencer stuff, you know, and now you want to do what? Well, tell me what to do. No, if you don't know, you have to create your own opportunity. If you don't know how you're going to add value and present that to me, then I'm not, if I have to give you tasks all the time, it's like, I have people to do that, you know? So, I'm kind of, I have a gateway keepers now, a couple people that I'm like, just go through my brother, you know, go to him. If he has something for you, he'll do it. Cause I don't want to say no, you know, cause then I'm an asshole. Yeah. And so I'm getting it on the smallest level, but like for Rogan, I'm sure it's like flooded all day, every day.
And you can't compete with $50,000 an episode. That's insane.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And that's just for one of the ad reads. He does 7 of them, you know, or however many, 10 of them. So that way, if it's 10, then that's 2 million. No, 200, whatever, 500,000.
And then he's got, you know, his YouTube platform, and then this Spotify deal that's rumored to be worth 100 million.
Probably annually. I would say it has to be annually. If it can't just be 100 million, because he could have done 100 million on his own.
You think it's 100 million a year?
I think it's 100 million a year.
What?
Yeah.
That would be insane. Yeah, I do like a good conspiracy theory, or I read about. I haven't looked into it much, but I have seen him apologizing for things, and then him defending himself. I didn't listen to it, but like with the Alex Jones guy, I don't know much about.
I had to cut it. I had to turn it off. I was listening to it
the episode.
Yeah, and I love Alex Jones. I love Tim Dillon. We sponsor Tim Dillon. He's been on Rogan. That was another one.
Yeah, huge. I did see that.
And then they're on there, and like every time Alex was getting on, you know, getting his groove on, getting his rant going, Joe Rogan would stop him. I mean,
he just says,
he'd be like, hold on, Jamie, fact check. And you can't, he's like, why are you, you know, he's like asking him why you're saying that. And, you know, you can't just say that. And I was like, you let Eddie Bravo say anything about flat earth and aliens.
Probably not anymore though.
I guess not. You know,
we'll see. I'm sure he'll be on eventually.
but it's like, you're a fucking comedian podcaster. What are you doing? You're like, okay, you had Biden on and you had these guys on, and I'm sorry if you're listening to this. I'll bow down.
Well, I think too, it's the consumer's job, or not the consumer, I guess the customer, whatever you call a podcast listener, to understand who the person is. Like, I don't know anything about Alex Jones, but the one thing, I've never listened to him, and not for any reason, but when you Google it, it's like conspiracy theorist, wacky, crazy guy. So if you tune in and listen to that, you got to understand things he say. Take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
Like, it may or may not be true. Just like you said, if you listen to a comedian, if you listen to a 2-hour podcast with a comedian, you got to be ready for some ruthless shit. They're
Yeah.
probably going to say some crude humor because that's what they do.
I love Tuesdays with Stories. If you like crude humor, we sponsor
Tuesdays
them.
with Stories.
Yeah, they just say, like, they'll replace what a normal word would be in a sentence with, like, queef or cunt, or like just things that you wouldn't. They just throw in these random words, and they call their fans Tuesgays, you know, and our promo code is Tuesgays, because I'm a fan of the show, and if you weren't a real listener or a fan of the show, you wouldn't even know that. It's because a lot of the sponsors don't. They're, you know, the promo code is Tuesdays, but ours is Tuesgays, and and during the reads, they'll be like, "This guy's a fan of the show." They give me like shout outs because I am a fan of the show, and I love that they'll say, you know, they're fans. You know, Sheath Underwear, they're fans of the show. You know that because they're using he's a Tuesday. They'll call me a Tuesday, and it typically will sponsor podcasts that I'm a fan of, and I'm typically a fan of the most outrageous kind of comedy.
Yeah, kind of outside the box.
Yeah, I want to be like, not it's not even shocking, but it's the stuff you're not allowed to say. You know, I like that.
Are you a Ron White fan?
I am not. Why?
The comedian?
Yeah.
You don't like him?
Well, he's the one that drinks and stuff.
Smokes a cigar on stage.
Yeah, I love him, but I don't listen to his podcast.
I don't know if he has one. I just didn't know if you were a fan of his comedy.
Yeah, he's old. He's a good comic.
I think he's on the back end of his stuff too. I remember when he first got popular, at least with me, he was blue collar comedy tour, and that was kind of cool for a while. Now he does his own independent stuff, but
he's been on Rogan quite a few times.
Oh yeah,
yeah. So we never reached out to him. He's an interesting individual. He's just like super cool. You know, he's always just like too cool. He's very cool.
Yeah. Just always drinking whiskey, smoking cigar, just straight chilling.
I don't know how he can survive like that.
Well, he's talked about it before. You know, not a healthy habit. Like he's said he's basically an alcoholic, or, you know, he indulges way too much. But I'm thinking not thinking outside the box, I guess. So when I become friends with someone, or, you know, an acquaintance, I always try to think like, how can I help promote Sheath, or who would be good? And you're like, I want a golfer. What about John Daly? Do you know who that is?
Oh yeah, I do know who John Daly is.
He would be freaking perfect.
Yeah, he would be perfect.
I don't even know what he's worth, but I've seen him recently plug in some type of like lottery ticket sponsorship. So maybe I'm thinking like,
no, I feel
he
like
might be open to a good product, because what he's doing
Exactly.
now is nothing. You know.
Yeah, no, that's a funny story. I mean, like when
He's a character.
were about to do the Bob Minery deal, he was their first interview. And
John Daly?
Yeah, John Daly. And we didn't sponsor that one. Then he had Dana White. He had this guy named Ninja, who's some kind of gamer. And I was like,
I know Ninja because of my brother.
yeah. So I was like, let's get this dude. And then like I said, it was a bust. But John Daly, still a huge, relevant name. And, you know, he's had his challenges with the drinking. But he was like the driver. I remember he would like drive the ball really far.
Grip it and rip it.
Yeah. So I would. That's a type of personality I'd be down with.
Yeah. I read his book in high school, and then he's from not far from where I'm from. I'm from Oklahoma, and he's from Arkansas.
Okay.
And then he went to the University of Arkansas, Fayetteville. But I don't know if you've ever seen some of his gambling stories, or just some of his drinking story. Have you ever seen any of those?
I'm very peripheral with him,
Okay.
any information about him.
Yeah, this is totally random, but so like his interviews with Graham Bensinger, the guy who does a lot of the athletes, he supposedly after he won a tournament, he went and spent all the winnings in Vegas that night. It was like $1 million on slots.
Whoa.
And then he said he would go play blackjack for like 24 to 36 hours at a time, and he would play 3 hands at $3,000 a hand,
Yeah.
or and even more. And he was rumored to play this $10,000 slot in Vegas. I've looked for it up and down. I've never seen it, but apparently it was $10,000 a pool,
Yeah, that's insane.
and he would lose $1-2 million a night.
That reminds me of like Jordan. I love Jordan.
Yeah.
If we could get Michael Jordan, that would be a good catch.
That would be so amazing.
I've been watching The Last Dance
Mhm.
on Netflix. It's a great documentary. And
Apparently he would gamble on like tic-tac-toe or the most ridiculous things.
yeah, dice, golfing, a lot of golfing, whatever. And it's a rush. It's a kind of legal. There's no drug involved. He's very competitive. That's
Mhm.
what he said. He's like a competition problem.
Yeah.
He can stop
And
gambling.
then he's got some money. So
Yeah. And I enjoy throwing a couple bucks on a fight, It
Yeah,
makes it a little bit more interesting.
I was going to bridge into that because that's a lot of my podcast, no matter who's on, it's like I talk a lot about sports, MMA, gambling, because betting on sports. I love to bet on sports.
Yeah.
So I was going to ask you, what do you use here? FanDuel or DraftKings or?
Bet DSI.
Yeah, there's so many.
Yeah. And I have lost it all. I know it's $400 total over like 6 months, but man, I'm like an avid fan, but you cannot predict who's going to win these fights.
No.
It's like impossible.
There are some like Nunez's last one.
Right.
That I think a lot of people thought it was going to be lopsided, and it was, and the odds were ridiculous. But a lot of the other ones, I agree, they're so 50-50 with what they call the fighter's chance or the puncher's chance.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do enjoy betting on sports, football, fighting, basketball. It does tune you in. Me and my buddy were talking about the other day. It does tune you into the game a lot more, or the fight.
Yeah.
Even if it's $25, you're like, let's go. I've been using FanDuel here.
Is that like real money? Like you put in $100 and you can place 20 on this fight, and the odds are kind of the Vegas odds are part.
Oh
of
yeah, it's identical.
Okay, so
it's all PayPal. I've cashed it to my PayPal, which is ridiculous.
nice.
I've used this site before I moved to Colorado, and it's called Bovada. It's a Canadian website. I'm kind of incriminating myself here per se. Hopefully, I don't have really.
Seems to be legal. There's like commercials on TV
Yeah.
for MGM Grand, whatever.
Yeah. Well, it's a Canadian website,
Yeah.
and I've used them before I got here. But now that FanDuel all the gambling is legal here in Colorado, I do it. So
Oh, yeah. I noticed
FanDuel, DraftKings, BetDSI, BetMGM.
one of the best betting tools, and we'll wrap it up here in a second,
Yeah,
but is I put money on the horses directly, like Cowboy or Kyle Nelson or Peter Barrett or Bryce Mitchell. Like I'm going to be watching Bryce Mitchell. Like my brand reputation in a sense kind of is riding along with him, and if he wins, that's a big win. So I'm betting by sponsoring them, and by sponsoring the horses, if you will.
Yeah.
I don't own the horse, but I got a piece of the horse.
This is your guy, yeah. He's
Yeah.
on your team. So yeah, I'm excited for that one. I do like watching Bryce Mitchell fight. He's very entertaining. And then I do like Andre Fili too. Andre Fili is really underrated in my opinion.
Yeah, this is going to be one of Bryce's biggest challenges, I
think
would
it will
say,
be.
for sure. So,
But he is the favorite.
okay, good. And he's 13-0. Fili's lost a few.
Yep.
But so you never know. And then I was not excited about the main event. Silva
And Hall.
I love Hall. I feel like Silva's washed up, but
He is.
yeah,
In my opinion.
yeah, I know. So what is he doing fighting? But then if you listen to the most recent Believe You Me podcast, there's he was the greatest. I would say Anderson Silva was the greatest at one point in time. Like nobody could touch him, and I think he would beat Adesanya. I think he would beat John Jones in his prime. Just saying, I think he would beat the Russian Nurmagomedov. Yeah, and I know they're different weight classes, sort of.
You're saying is the pound for pound king?
In his prime, I would say yes. Now, so still with 10 years later, he's 45. Could he win? I think if he really tried, I think he could win.
I think if you see any of his stuff on social media, I think he's trying to close out with a W. And I also, just my opinion, I think he's trying to close out with a check.
Yeah.
Another check. Because, who's not calling out Conor McGregor? But he was also calling out Conor, which is like, where?
That's funny.
No, your weight, yeah.
Too heavy.
Yeah. And, outside your prime, Conor would probably smoke you, I think. In your prime, no,
people underestimate Conor, because he's all talk and this and that. And, he maybe didn't fight. He skipped quite a few people in line to get to the top, but he's the only person that beat Khabib in a round, and he did beat all those other people, you know.
Yeah, I was so sad whenever he smoked Cowboy in 30 seconds or whatever.
I was there.
You were there.
I was there, and I was also very sad.
Gosh, of course.
But I love Conor, and I've loved what he's done for the sport. But obviously, with my money on Cowboy, I was like, I need Cowboy to win. I flew there with Robert Oberst, and
it just ended so quick.
It was too. It was I was like, if anything, make it a great fight, a drag out battle war, and then whoever loses still wins.
Yeah.
But
kind of like the Pettis Cowboys.
Yeah.
That one was a good one.
Yeah.
Didn't go his way, but it was still a good fight.
Exactly my point. Like, if you lose by a decision to the judges, but it was like, you know, they had to give it to somebody or a split decision or whatever, you know, you still kind of won in terms of your fans' respect and whatnot. But he's still the Cowboy, still has all these records. He's like great.
Future Hall of Famer.
Yeah. And just a, you know, example of the sport. He's ready to fight whenever, wherever. So I feel like he should take some time off. You know, and I mean, now he's getting older, but so it's kind of late to take time off. But the people that take time off between the fights, I feel like come back fresher and ready. You know.
Yeah, me and my brother were talking about that. I think he prides himself on being down anytime, any place, anywhere. I'll sign the check, and then maybe it's like, now that you're older, maybe, you know, you can go with that mentality, but you don't have to fight every 2 months. Maybe take a little more time and then do like twice a year.
Twice a year, I think, is a good move for him.
Yeah.
So hopefully he takes that kind of. I'm sure he gets that advice from time to time, and you know, just maybe a few more fights, get a couple more W's.
Was his last one a draw?
Yeah, against Nico Price.
We could go on forever. I know we're gonna wrap up soon, but I freaking hate ties. I hate it. You know, you can tie in the NFL, and then pretty rarely in the UFC. I don't get it. There should be something where you know, go an extra minute.
Yeah.
Go a bonus round, and 1 minute you slug it out, or flip a coin or something.
Yeah, like a death match or whatever, kind of one final round.
I can get it to see where it was so close it's hard to tell, but I just hate the draw.
Yeah, I don't know who won that fight, but I guess nobody won that fight.
The fans, maybe. I didn't get to watch that one, but then I did see the one you're talking about with Pettis, where they were like, even Pettis was like, "Damn, I didn't think I won that one.
Yeah,
I'll take it."
Right, so. And so he doesn't lose any stock, and I still love him. You know, I'm messaging with him, and we might do another deal with him just because he's been really good to us.
Yeah. Are you gonna try to get him on your podcast? Are you gonna try to get him virtual, or are you gonna get him out here?
Probably virtual. I might suggest I would drive down there.
Of course.
Yeah, 5 hours. I've done it before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As we said before, in person is so much better.
Yeah.
But yeah, we could talk forever. I know we probably got to cut out soon. We didn't really talk a whole lot about SHEATH as much as I thought we would. It's been a good conversation, but
good.
Let's plug you a little bit more before we head out. Where can people find you? Your podcast again, kind of what you're about, and close it out.
Thanks. Obviously, you can find the product at sheathunderwear.com. We're also available on Amazon Prime, and you know, promo code SHEATH will save you 30%. That's something they can use. I have a podcast I've started, and it's called the Robert Patton Global Podcast, RPG Podcast. It is primarily about success, the tools for success, kind of strategies and things I've used in my journey. Talk a lot about Think and Grow Rich, the book. I'd like to do little solo segments from time to time, just talking about some of the principles, because I feel like, you know, sharing is caring, and I'm not trying to hold back any of this information of what it took for me to be successful. I'm not special, and I'm just a guy that kind of follows the blueprint. I'm Robert Patton, and you know, that's what I'm about. At Bobby the Bank on all social medias, at Bobby the Bank, like all of them, Bobby the Bank. And
I'll put those links in there too.
Yeah, so. SHEATH Underwear on all the other ones for SHEATH, and you can find out more about me. Hit me up if you want me to be on your podcast, or you want to be on mine, and maybe we'll do a crossover. Not right now, We do. We are. Like we're gonna do orders. Actually, I still keep my hand on, in the business. I still work every day.
Yeah, I want to say I bought my first pair of Sheath underwear on Tuesday, and you packed them and sent me a note. It said you signed it. I think you signed everyone's. With thank you.
I do sign thank you.
But then you said see you Saturday because we knew we were going to come out here. So.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, these things are amazing, man. I love them. Like I said, I do love pouch underwear. I was wearing Saks, but now I know you're on my podcast, so you got a new customer.
Yeah.
Built some loyalty.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't mention the description of the product. Has a pouch for your boys, keeps them off your legs, keeps you from running into sticky situations, I say. So you don't have to unstick your boys from your leg. That's kind of the main feature, and I can leave it at that. It's pretty simple.
Yeah, they are great. I do like them. I was going to ask you one more question, and then we'll cut out. I know you're going to work a little bit. A lot of people, when they get good at something, they start growing, and then some people stay where they're at. Like, like Chick-fil-A is like, I'm not going to expand. I'm just going to make a good chicken sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to grow into other product? You got shirts and a couple of women's things. Are you going to grow into other things like athletic wear, or are you going to stick to just what you're good at?
We're branching out, and we're using the underwear as like a launching pad we're going to do socks. We're going to do undershirts. Okay. I don't want to get too crazy. I think staying like good at what you're good at is actually a strong move.
Less is more.
Yeah. So, we're doing a soap thing, which is going to be like this Fight Club bar of soap, but these are going to be sort of not one and dones totally, but offshoots and kind of special promotional products. Like, I like Fight Club, great movie. It's gonna be like a pink bar of soap, and it's just gonna have our logo on it. And we have a local manufacturer here that we're working with that does soap, and we might do some other things like that. But the whole,
you're not gonna get fat from the hospital and make it yourself.
No, we're not use women's own fat asses and sell it back to them. That's a line from the movie. But we're take inspiration where we find it, and like Supreme is a brand that will put their brand on a hammer or something, and I kind of like that. We're always just having fun,
experimenting and seeing what's out there.
Yep.
And any plans to go retail, or are you going to stay mainly online?
Like we're looking at some retail opportunities. We did just sign with this company, Mr. Checkout, and they are going to try to link us up with some retail stores. But we do great online, So if it happens, it happens, but we're not dependent on it.
Have you ever heard of SHEATH?
Underwear?
No, the store. They're coming here. If you ever want to be in a store, I would recommend putting them there, because I'm just a huge fan of the store, and I don't know. Or even if you don't put your underwear there, you should go shop there, because it's amazing. I first discovered it in Grand Forks, North Dakota, because they're originally from Minnesota, but they're building one here.
SHEATH?
SCHEELS.
Okay, no.
It's a sporting goods store.
Yeah.
It's going to open up here March. It's an amazing store. It's like if you take Academy, Dick's, Cabela's, consolidate it into one with like Chick-fil-A customer service.
Nice.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm sure if you drove into town here, you'd see it. It's going to open March 21.
Okay. In town in Woodland Park or in Colorado Springs? Okay.
But I mean, just a great sporting goods store. Huge cool environment. Like I said, it'd be cool if you got your boxes in there. If not, as a customer, it's cool because you go in there and all the people just say hey to you. They remember your name.
I like that.
It's it's that great customer service.
Small town feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, the store is huge. Like they have a Ferris wheel inside the store.
Oh wow.
Yeah. It's cool. So.
I'm down, but I've been waiting for them to come to me. Seems like they might not come running. And we've reached out to a couple of outdoor sports, good stores. Mountain Chalet here is a local store, and when the time is right, we'll be in there.
Yeah, cool, man. Well, dude, Bobby, it's been great having you on. I really appreciate you, and like I said, maybe we can cross over and come back on yours, or have you again as another guest. But I'm gonna drop all your links in here, so people know where to find you. But Robert Patton, Bobby the Bank, Sheath Underwear, CEO and founder, former Army veteran. Happy early Veterans Day to you. Happy Halloween, and have fun watching the fights tonight, Bryce Mitchell. So
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's been a fun conversation.
yes, sir. Thank you, and we'll keep in touch.
Absolutely. All right. Take care, people.
Peace.